All right, how's everything?
Great. Thank you so much for making some time and
Yeah, pleasure.
welcome to what I call Dare to be Vital with Allan Mishra. We're so lucky to have Dr. Karen Sutton. I have to read your biography because it's really long and impressive. He's a
You don't have to read it. I'm
board
here.
certified sports medicine surgeon, associate attending at the Hospital for Special Surgery, head team physician for U.S. Women's lacrosse, team physician for U.S. ski and snowboard, and also a former academic All-American lacrosse player and team captain at not my favorite place, Duke, because I went to Michigan. But thank you for
We're both
making time.
blue. It's okay.
Yeah, so I'm really impressed with what you're doing, but I'd love to just learn a little bit more about you. And I know you have kids at home, and I don't know how you keep everything up in the air. So that's one of my massive reasons to ask you my loaded question. How are you thriving during the coronavirus crisis?
I guess part of my thriving process would be trying to take a positive attitude with everything. I think in life, whether we're going through medical school, residency, you're working 100 hours a week, I think it's always important to take a minute and find the humor in the situation, see if you can work out. I just always think positivity is very helpful. I also find writing lists is very useful too. So I know that's a simple type of thing, but if you can try to keep yourself on track and set goals every day, short-term and long-term goals, that shows that you're making progress too.
That's awesome. So are you still practicing a little bit, or are you guys operating over there, or no?
Yeah, so good question. We're in a transition period right now where HSS has the main hospital in Manhattan, and now we are taking COVID patients. So we've rearranged our floors, PACUs, operating rooms so that we have negative pressure ventilation and we can take care of those patients to help out New York. We partner with New York Presbyterian, so we're trying to work with them to help take care of their patients. Then we have satellite offices where we're seeing urgent patients, fracture care, some of our post-operative care from a couple weeks ago as well. And then we're all set up for video conferencing and telehealth.
Good. Yeah, I think it's out here. We've kind of been put on hold for a while.
Yeah.
Northern California has been really ridiculously better. We're not quite sure why,
Mhm.
but what's the mood in the New York area and the New York metro area? Our thoughts and prayers are with all of you, especially those on the front line. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I would want to echo your praise to the frontline people. We are even working with our residents and fellows now who will be out on the front line as well. So I commend everybody who is screening COVID patients, taking care of patients, intubating, ventilating patients. I think that's critical at this time. New Yorkers are strong. That's what I've learned. I did not grow up in New York, but I've learned the resiliency of the community, and people really want to band together to help. So they're abiding by all the restrictions as far as I can see. And then somewhere around 7 o'clock or various times in the evening, everybody opens up their windows and claps for all the healthcare workers. So there is a sense of really being in this together, and New York is a very, very strong city.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear. We see it on the news, and sometimes we're trying to filter what's going on, but it seems pretty challenging when they're building hospitals in Central Park, or at least overflow hospitals in Central Park. That's flat out scary to all of us, and we're hoping everybody can get through the next few weeks, and hopefully, whatever ways we can flatten the curve, we're all in.
I agree. And, I think that we all have to move in a certain direction. It's easy to start reviewing all what's on social media, the news, and it can get very daunting. Even my oldest, my 10-year-old, I found that he was starting to hyperventilate one day, and I didn't want to be the parent to ignore any COVID symptoms. So I called the pediatrician to see if that's normal for 10-year-olds to start getting anxiety and hyperventilating. And she said she has been seeing this more often recently, just that children are going to have to deal with the severity of this condition and not being with their friends. So all of their immediate sources of calm and normalcy have been taken away from them too.
So how old are your kids? 10's the oldest, but I think you have
Yeah,
two
10's
or
the
three.
oldest. I have four.
Oh, four. Oh my God. How do you get everything done?
Yeah, it's interesting.
So 10's
Uh,
the oldest. How old? What's the age range?
so my three oldest are boys,
Okay.
10, 8, and 7, and then my daughter is 4.
Oh my God, Karen, you
Yeah.
look fabulous. You look actually well rested.
Exactly.
All right, I have a million questions.
Lots of makeup, yeah.
Okay, so the 10-year-old was hyperventilating, and was he watching the stuff on the news? Was he able to understand what was going on, or what
I
were?
think it was more talking with his friends. They have chat groups that they'll do after their school activities are over. They're all being homeschooled or distance learning right now. But, boys tend to escalate things and dramatize situations. So they don't know the exact facts. And what I realized is it really did help to sit down with him for a few minutes and just go over what is COVID-19 in a child's perspective. I think there actually are children's books being written right now about COVID-19. And how does it affect our family? How does it affect school, sports? Is there an end in sight? They work in such smaller timeframes than we work. So 1 week seems like an eternity. 1 month seems like an eternity. And he was just ready to start his lacrosse season. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to do the stay-at-home challenge and get people active. So get something that they can purposefully do and feel like they're making a difference, whether it's just within their own family or within their teams. But get out there and do something.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because I love that, the stay-at-home challenge. And that could be physical, mental, or social, or is it just focused on physical?
Yeah, as everything started, I worked with a group of people. My neighbor who is very into health in Fairfield, Connecticut. We worked together, and Mark Cirilli, as well as Dr. Matt Provencher, too, just thinking about how can we as orthopedic surgeons organize our society, because this does sound like it's going to be very dramatic. This is before everything shut down, before the quarantine. And we had a couple brainstorming sessions to see, here's what's going on in China, here's what's going on in Italy. What can we do? And the message was looking at all of those, flattening the curves, giving all the resources to healthcare and social distancing. That seemed to be, we don't know what the treatments are. We don't have a vaccine right now, but stay at home, get people to start social distancing. And what did that message look like? We thought, for a lot of us, we're surrounded by athletes, sports teams. So a stay-at-home challenge where, okay, you're used to going to the field, you're used to, running around with your friends, challenging everybody. Everybody seems to be competitive in my world these days. So what can you put yourself through? And it ranges from doing your own workout. So, on social media, you can see I'm trying to get through these days by doing some workouts on my own and getting those natural endorphins, being outside. That's what gathers my thoughts, to working with your family and, buying a hula hoop and going back to some of the things that you used to do, jumping jacks, jump rope. And it just makes everybody smile. And to watch my 4-year-old do ladder drills is pretty fun. So just giving some ideas to other parents in terms of, if you have a 4-year-old who wants to wear a tutu and do a hula hoop and ladder drills, go for it.
Oh my God, that's awesome, Karen. So I think what we're all trying to figure out, and literally the day that they were shutting things down in Northern California, I went to our local sporting goods store because I had a great gym access through Stanford and other places. So I don't really have a lot of gym stuff at home. And then everything was sold out. And there was a big line for guns and ammo, which was kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that too. Yeah.
And lines out the door for the liquor store down the
right.
The strip mall. So then I've been having to mine what's in my garage, like old jump ropes or
a thigh master. No.
A thigh. I don't have a thigh master. That's a good one. No, I don't have. Maybe I have a Jane.
Now we got a retro. Bring that back out.
Maybe I have a Jane Fonda VHS. Yeah. That I might have it.
Put that on Instagram.
There we go.
It'll go viral.
But I think, you have to be creative. And for those of us who may be old enough to have had gym class, I think a lot of it's been legislated away. But, we did simple things like jumping jacks. We did ladder drills. We did things that, maybe are really simple, but they can be so effective, as you said, at getting people active, getting them smiling, and getting them out of that mindset of just thinking about that, whether you're 10 years old, 40 years old, or 80 years old. Activity will help release some of that tension. It'll help you sleep better, all the things that are positive. And so, I'd love to jump on board and do whatever I can to help you with your stay-at-home challenge. And I'll push it out to all the people here on the West Coast who I think they need to be a little more focused, because people are like, well, I did this 50 times. Well, what can we do to help those people who are, needing a little more focus on how to stay active, because those of us who love to do it are like horses in the barn ready to go out.
Right.
Maybe we can inspire those other people who want to learn how to do simple things.
The other thing that I think it's been fun is reaching out to my different communities, whether it's US lacrosse, US ski and snowboard. It was shocking to see how many people grabbed onto this idea so quickly. I just started writing to people through social media and asked them if they could send me a cool workout, or even, one idea was just get a bunch of canned food and whatever you have in your pantry that you've been storing out for COVID and make something fun out of it. So somebody put together like a salmon recipe. But it was really impressive to see that the lacrosse community, the skiing community, our local sports and school communities just wanted to do something fun. And some people really took it to the next level. And then there are the videos in Italy where some guy's climbing through windows and set up a home obstacle course in his apartment. He's jumping over bouncy balls and he was like Spider-Man moving all around. So it really does bring a smile to your face. And I try to keep track of all the stay-at-home challenges on my Instagram account, and I'll just click on the button and just see what the crazy things that people are doing.
Well, that's fantastic. And I think the other thing we have to lean into, and I've been doing a bunch of these interviews, is helping those people who are a little older with mild challenges. I interviewed a physical therapist from Australia, and she has her grandmother just doing sit to stands. If you're sitting in a chair, stand up, or if you're just going to take a little lap around your living room, or maybe go up and down if you have a short set of stairs in your house. We need to do any sort of movement because that's going to help us. So it doesn't have to be high end for the kids who need to burn off that energy.
Right. No.
Now I have a bounce back college student now, which has been interesting to have at home. But it's really, we need to collectively work together to keep them active and fit and what I call vital. One positive thing I've seen, Karen, and I wonder if you have seen this, is families are a lot more cohesive. And then we've been doing more of this. Like I, love connecting with you via video and learning more about what you're doing. But some of the strange stories of how either families or people who are very distant have become a little more connected are one minor positive part of what's going on. Have you experienced any of that yourself?
Yeah, I think, first of all, going back to keeping our older relatives or community members fit, I do think that simple exercises, even just if it's breathing, so meditative exercises have been really helpful. My parents live down in Maryland, and I don't think it's appropriate for us to go visit them just because you could be asymptomatic and pass COVID-19 on to them. So we've been working on some breathing exercises. And then I do think the video aspect is helpful. So what I've tried to do, my mom plays the piano. So come up with different talents that people cherish and they feel proud of. So she'll record herself playing something on the piano and teach my daughter some simple notes as she's doing that. So that's, a couple times a week we'll do that. I think that, again, finding these talents, for example, my dad plays chess and my third son really enjoys playing chess at home. So they've come up with a way to do video, and he'll make a move and then tell my son where to go as well. So capturing what people love to do and seeing if you can get that to be virtual is something I would pass on.
That's awesome. So capturing what you may like to do, or your parents or your siblings, and we've been doing a little bit of that with virtual happy hours, or actually even virtual dinner connections with another couple or people where you can put the computer and then enjoy a meal together. I think the technology, we're very lucky. What we're doing, this is on Zoom right now, but it's seamless, it's simple, and it can be transformative. So a couple maybe selfish questions, because I miss, doing what we like to do, either being in the operating room or seeing patients or taking care of teams, or, participating in sports or watching sports. And I know you're a junkie. So, so how are you? I keep thinking, okay, I will be able to do this. I will be able to get back into that. But this is more peer-to-peer here, whether it's being a surgeon or being an athlete. How are you personally dealing with being able to think maybe it's going to be a month? I mean, like, I'm trying to schedule surgery right now, and they'll say they won't even let me schedule it for the beginning of May. So we're pretty much done all of April. But also participating in either team sports or watching them on TV, or the Olympics that were supposed to come up. I'm missing it. I'm just trying to figure out, how are you coping?
So I look at it in different buckets. I try to organize my life in different buckets. The first would be orthopedics. So as surgeons or whoever else is listening to this webinar, I think of your craft and how could you be involved with your craft at this time. So the orthopedic AAOS, our American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons, has put together a lot of videos, and this happened before COVID, but now it's a great time to really focus on some of the surgical techniques that you maybe wanted to expand, or you wanted to look at different ACL reconstructions or anterolateral ligament reconstruction. And so that's what I've done. Reached out to some of my colleagues who I remember hearing them talk either at a sports medicine conference or at our national conference. And I said, hey, could you send me that video and some of the research you're doing on these ACL reconstructions? And so I'll start to read them. So I've been trying, instead of actively doing the surgeries, to at least expand my mind, and all the things that I wish I would have read more on a month ago, now I'm really trying to check those boxes. The second would be research, for you and myself and a lot of our orthopedic colleagues out there. It's a time to organize my research, and, I've definitely bought a lot of various, organizing books and things to start writing down. So actually the first few days I spent organizing all my goals and seeing how I can accomplish finishing up different manuscripts, who are on my teams, and recentering myself with the research. And the next bucket is sports. And I think that it's tough. I mean, there's no doubt about it that it's sad that we're not seeing Duke winning March Madness.
I would have Michigan over Duke in March Madness. My nephew is a sophomore there right now. So there's a lot of Duke, Michigan, rivalry here in our house.
Yeah, but
anyway, I missed that, and you're right. Wow. I mean, those are really good suggestions, Karen, across a big gamut, from being a mom to being a surgeon to being a caretaker for a lot of athletes. And, can't thank you enough for all that. And I hope we can stay in touch and share each other's ideas. And I'm going to think about what I'm going to do for the stay-at-home challenge. So thank you so much, Karen, for your time. Stay safe there in Connecticut, New York, and be well.